And now, your forecast first from the CBS 17 Storm Team.
Showers and storms rolled through a little earlier this evening. Most of us, though, now drying out. Still a couple showers, though, through portions of Johnson, Wayne, Sampson, Harnett, and Cumberland counties. This batch will continue sliding through, and I think by midnight, the rain is gone. It's going to be a nice start to your Sunday. We'll see ample sunshine. We'll start off in the middle 60s across all of central North Carolina. By lunchtime, though, as opposed to low 80s, low 70s. And I think all of us stay in the 70s tomorrow with lower humidity. Enjoy it. I'll have more details to your exclusive 10-day in just a few minutes.
Now, breaking news from CBS 17 News.
A demand for justice leads to hours-long protests throughout central North Carolina, from Raleigh to Durham, down into Fayetteville, and across the country. Good evening. I'm Angela Taylor.
And I'm Marius Payton as we continue our breaking news coverage of the ongoing protests as well as the demonstrations underway tonight.
We do have team coverage with reporters in Raleigh, Durham, and Fayetteville. But let's start with CBS 17's Colleen Quigley, who is live in downtown Raleigh. Colleen, what are you seeing now?
Okay, there's people revving their engines on motorcycles. We are on Fayetteville Street here, where you can see people have broken the windows of the CVS and they're now going in and out. And then if you pan over here to the Kimbrells, where the furniture store is, people breaking glass there. And if we take a look all the way down the street, if you look at all these businesses, as I said earlier, it's hard to find one that hasn't had some sort of damage put here.
And they're claiming it's high flow.
And you can see there's at the end of the street, so at the other end of Fayetteville between Martin and Davie, that's where the old courthouse is. And that's where most of the action has been for the past 2 hours or so. You can see the police in riot gear and an armored vehicle there. If you were watching us earlier this evening, that's where you saw photojournalist and I, Harrison Light. We were reporting live when there were several rounds of tear gas, and as we tried to get out of the way, we ended up getting hit with some. We had to come down just to gather ourselves. But in the last hour or so, the situation has really deteriorated. You can see people just destroying things, breaking businesses that have been closed because of COVID-19 that were ready to reopen. Glass is shattering all around us at this point with these different businesses that are being damaged there. You see Downtown Dental, someone shattering the glass there. Anchor Bar, someone shattering the glass there. What's frustrating is there are protesters out here. They wanted this to be peaceful. The people that organized the 5 p.m. peaceful protest, that was how this started this evening. One of the organizers told me they left as soon as these, what he called them agitators in his word, arrived. And this has the situation now in downtown Raleigh for hours now. Pretty much any street you go on, there have been these police and protesters action and reaction. That's the best way I can describe it. It's unclear what keeps these trigger points, right, where you see them they're standing there talking to each other. Something happens that we can't see. There's tear gas. We have seen protesters throwing things at police as well. We have been the target of water bottles. We have been the target of stuff as well. So we're trying to stay safe out here. I do want to mention there are people who are still peaceful, that people are saying, stop what you're doing. There are people helping. There are people with water. There are people with milk trying to help you. When you get that tear gas in your eyes, it burns. And they've been stopping. They offered us help. They're offering other people help. So it's this interesting dichotomy out here. You've got these people that are clearly damaging things. You have police here that are responding. And then you have people that wanted it to be peaceful. That's why they came out. They wanted to protest the death of George Floyd and other black men in this country. And this was meant to be a peaceful instance. And this is what it has descended into here in downtown Raleigh. And it is unfortunate. There goes another business. To see these businesses that have been closed because of COVID-19, some of them just starting to reopen. And they're going to have to come out here tomorrow and clean all of this up. I want to mention one more thing before we go. We did meet some people out here who were already trying to clean things up. They said they wanted to come help out, sweep up the glass, sweep up the debris that's here on the street. So not everyone out here is intent on causing this chaos, but that is a lot of what we're seeing right now. Angela, Marius.
Colleen, thank you. We'll check back in with Colleen in a little bit, but we want to continue our coverage in Raleigh.
Let's go to CBS 17's Mackenzie Stasko. And Mackenzie, you have been out there all evening. Just very sad to see what's happening.
Angela, it's absolutely sad and very devastating, truly, to see everything that has happened all day today, especially from the way this all started to how it is turning out. If you take a look, this is what I'm talking about here at the PNC Bank building here on Fayetteville Street and East Martin. This is just one business that we have seen just smashed in the storefront. As you can see, the wind is picking up, so if there's any more tear gas, that is going to be an absolute nightmare for some of the protesters and media down here. We do want to show you, though, you can see we've got Raleigh police in their riot gear here, and we've got the armored truck over there. They have been standing guard at this intersection just outside the Wake County Courthouse. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing, but they are focusing their attention on that white armored truck. It appears as though some of them are packing up and perhaps moving to another location. But we want to show you some of the other damage along with those buildings that have been done. We're going to take a step behind where these police officers are. We want to show you that's the Wake County Courthouse, where we've got other officers there who are in full riot gear, along with those businesses being smashed. Take a look at the ground right now. Take a look. This is one of the parking signs. This is one of the parking signs. This is what we have seen people pick up and actually smash into the buildings. Again, this is just some of what people have been using. We saw somebody who tore down an American flag. They burned it in the middle of the street, and then they took that flagpole and then smashed it into one of those stores. So again, just Angela, as you mentioned, just a very sad, disturbing, and just difficult sight to see. We want to show you some of this graffiti. So not only are those storefronts being damaged, but take a look. This is all being defaced by greedy. We're going to try and stay away from some of the vulgar language, but as you can see, no justice, no peace. That is what organizers were spreading. They were spreading that message here at the Wake County Courthouse when this all first started around 5 o'clock today. No justice, no peace. Black Lives Matter, land of the free. So again, just some of the graffiti that we have seen here in downtown Fayetteville, in downtown Raleigh, along Fayetteville Street. So this entire area is just being absolutely looted and destroyed. We're going to take a walk down here. We're hearing some other protesters yell, no justice, no peace. Again, this protest all started in honor of George Floyd, the African-American man who was killed after being arrested by police in Minneapolis. And, you know, this all started very peacefully, but clearly this is anything but. So across the street there, you can see the subway there. And then we've got some of those protesters over there. It's just really something just quite disturbing to see. Angela, Maurice, we've got some other things in the middle of the street here. We do want to mention some of the roads in downtown Raleigh are open, but just speaking from firsthand experience, all of the tear gas that has been thrown, all of the stores that have been looted, definitely stay away from here if at all possible, just because this situation is evolving. For now, we'll send it back to you inside.
Mackenzie, thank you. Hundreds converged on Durham to march in honor of George Floyd and to demand an end to police violence.
CBS 17's Chris Clark is live in Durham. And Chris, a peaceful night, and it was peaceful during the daytime. Really refreshing to see.
Yeah, if ever there was a protest that you would want to hold up as the way to be the peaceful protest, this one would be it. Started off as a peaceful protest, and as you can hear now, it's kind of turned into a sleepover. Everybody is kind of dissipated. There's actually, I think, more media down here where the group was actually mustered before they started walking to the police station. There's more media here than I think there are protesters now. They've all gone home. Their message was gotten out, and it was not muddied by any kind of destruction, property destruction, or any harm, or anything of that nature. There was a police presence, but the police always stayed about a block or two away. You could see them, but they never came up on the protesters. They were there more to keep the streets open as they walked down to the police station and then over to the jail and then back to this park, creating sort of a triangle, if you will, all the while saying that this was their town. They didn't want to tear it up, didn't want to burn it up, and they just wanted to get their message out, and mission accomplished. We talked with one of those walking in the group, and here's what they had to say.
No, I'm one of those individuals. I couldn't sit at home on my sofa and continue to watch the brutality of what the police are doing to us as African-American men. And I'm out here to show my son that we can stand up and walk peacefully in a protesting manner without getting violent, and show my son that he can be a black man and stand up for his rights.
This never had the air of something would jump off at any moment. You get in large crowds sometimes, you can kind of feel the electricity, the nervousness, if you will, that just one little thing is going to set off that powder keg. It was never like that. It was them going to different places in the city and taking turns talking peacefully, getting out their views, getting out their anger, their frustration, and in the end, mission accomplished, going home peacefully, feeling like that they've got their message out. All in all, an incredible job of organizing by Skip and those that we talked with about getting their point across, and then going home like everyone should. Live in Durham, I'm Chris Clark. Back to you.
Yeah, they did a great job with that protest. Very peaceful.
Yes, it was. Brian.
Yes, right. And the next couple of days are in store for us with lower humidity. We'll talk about that. And we'll have an exclusive 10-day forecast on the other side of the break.
As we've been telling you, things have been very intense in Fayetteville. Someone broke into the historic Market House, set that building on fire.
CBS 17's Kayla Strayer is live, or that's Michael Highland live in Fayetteville. And Michael, police have closed that downtown tonight.
Right, we're actually back over at Cross Creek Mall. If you come look over here behind me, in the last few minutes, at least 20 police cars have pulled up here. They've arrested a couple of people over in front of JCPenney here. I saw dozens of people going in and out of the store within the last 30 minutes, coming out with all kinds of things, clothes, shoes, handing them off to people who are out in their cars out here. Then I saw a bunch of them come around the corner here over to the food court. You can see there's more police cars over in this direction. Saw several of them going in through the food court and into the mall. Saw police escorting at least 2 people out from that way over here, and they've taken them to the police cars over on this side. The people had been over here for at least a couple of hours after the police broke up the demonstration that was going on downtown. That moved a lot of people over here to Cross Creek Mall, and they've been out here for a couple hours. You've heard some loud pops in the last 20 minutes or so, especially right as the police pulled up over here. We haven't heard anything about anybody getting injured out here, but obviously things had gotten out of control over here at the mall after we saw that demonstration downtown earlier today.
Well, so far we've not heard from Governor Roy Cooper about the violence or property damage we have seen tonight, but earlier he did weigh in on the death of George Floyd with a statement on Twitter, tweeting, "George Floyd and so many others should be alive right now." He went on to talk about protests around the country, offering a space for people to make their voices heard, but they must happen without violence and further loss of life. It is time we have the difficult conversations needed to stamp out racism and end these unjust killings. Again, we have not yet heard from the governor about what is going on across the state right now. We are keeping an eye on a developing story out of Fort Bragg. The Pentagon has reportedly put soldiers from the North Carolina Army post on alert for rapid deployment. The soldiers could be deployed to Minneapolis to provide support for police and the National Guard in response to violent protests over the past several nights there. Angela.
I'll take it from here, Maggie. Thank you. Right now, we want to check back with Mackenzie Stasko, who's been following the protest in downtown Raleigh.
So, Mackenzie, things started peacefully, which is what they planned. Then all of a sudden, things just went downhill as soon as the sun set.
Angela, it certainly did. As we mentioned, tear gas, businesses being destroyed here along Fayetteville Street. And this is just a little bit of what we've seen. We want to show you over here. We've got Raleigh police pulling up in an armored truck. We did see some of them leave earlier. But again, a huge police presence here in downtown Fayetteville. There is a lot of unrest, a lot of people, unfortunately, screaming things like that during our broadcast. As that man mentioned, there's quite a variety of people here. But again, Raleigh police here in their riot gear. We're going to actually move across the street if we can at all from people screaming during this live shot. But again, Angela, as you mentioned, this all started out very peacefully and has since turned into anything but. Dozens of businesses here along Fayetteville Street being destroyed, people with their signs, people, again, doing this in honor of George Floyd, but it started out peacefully, has turned into just a lot of unrest and anger. We've got Raleigh police walking over here. This is right by the subway near the intersection of Martin and Fayetteville. If you We're going to walk with them and see where they're going. This has been a very fluid situation. What we've seen all night is that protesters have been starting in certain areas. As soon as they start to destroy things or things start to get looted, that is when police officers arrive in their riot gear. That's when the tear gas gets thrown, and then that's when things clear out. So this is really just going block by block, street by street, as, again, a very fluid situation as things change. We do want to show you the camera over here on the left. If you can just show some of this. Just some of the damage. That's 1, 2, 3 storefronts in a row just completely smashed in. As we've reported before, a lot of these businesses have just been able to reopen because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So unfortunately, they're going to have to be set back a little bit more than they already were. People right now screaming no justice, no peace. Again, as part of this protest, which started peacefully but has since turned into just a lot of unrest here in downtown Raleigh. But again, we are following Raleigh police in their riot gear, trying to figure out exactly where they're going. But the whole night we've been following them. They've been moving to where the protesters are. Some tear gas gets thrown, the area clears out, and then they move again. So this has really just been kind of like a stop and go situation. So for now, that is the very latest. We'll continue to follow this situation. Down off in the distance, it looks like some tear gas was thrown again. The wind has been, we're going to send it back to you guys inside.
All right, our Mackenzie Stasko, CBS 17's Colleen Quigley, also covering those protests in Raleigh.
And she joins us live with more on the situation there. Colleen, where are you and what's going on?
You know, it looks like tear gas. Okay, it looks like Colleen is
right in the middle of it.
Right, looks like she needs to move, possibly tear gas right there next to her. She has been exposed to that all evening, unfortunately.
And as you can see the video, you see the broken glass from all of the smashed out windows along Fayetteville Street and other streets in downtown Raleigh. People are still walking. The protest or the riot still going strong in downtown Raleigh.
All right, let's check in with meteorologist Brian Hutton Jr.
And we are finally seeing the last bit of rain showers. It's been a soggy week, finally starting to clear out now of central North Carolina. Once this batch is out of here, we actually won't have to worry about rain for a couple of days. If your yard looks like mine, it's soggy, and we can use the break from all of the rain and the humidity we've seen the last few days as well. So the early real shower activity now is in southern portions of Wayne County. This is the Wayne-Duplin County line here. There's Mount Olive stretching back into portions of Sampson County and into the far southeastern portions of Harnett County as you head towards Dunn and up towards the I-40, I-95 interchange. So this is continuing to kind of slide off to the east. And again, this is the last batch, and there's no lightning right now associated with this. We've seen these showers and storms on the decline over about the last hour or so as it continues getting dark out there, even though temperatures are still mild. So again, this is kind of it as far as our rain is concerned for the next couple of days. There's a cold front draped right across central North Carolina now, and it's sliding through. Once it clears, again, rain is done, and our winds are actually going to turn around from the north and northwest. That's going to funnel in cooler and drier air, and our kind of summer preview we've had the last couple of days will be a thing of the past, at least for a couple of days. So again, those showers will continue exiting out. If your Futurecast keeps trying to hint at maybe one stray shower creeps in along the Virginia border. Otherwise, we'll see just a couple of clouds with us through the overnight hours. And then as we begin your Sunday, and especially through the day, we'll clear those out. So we'll call it mostly sunny on average for your Sunday, but a beautiful day lies ahead for us tomorrow. Here's what it looked like from the airport today. We saw clouds this morning, cleared them out, then clouds built back in as showers and thunderstorms roll through the area late this afternoon and early this evening. And again, that last batch now sliding through, but it's still humid and warm out there. The airport's officially at 76, Durham's at 75, Fayetteville is at 77. Notice those 60s to our north. That's a hint of some of that cooler air that's trying to drift into central North Carolina behind the front. It's still muggy though, except for Roxborough, whose dew point is now down to 59. Still dew point of 71 in Rayford, 70 in Fayetteville, 74 for Irwin and Clinton. So there's still a bit of a heat index out there for us. Most of us won't have to really worry about that as we continue through the rest of the night, and that's going to change as we head into tomorrow. Check out our high temperatures tomorrow, near 80. Normal highs this time of year, middle 80s, and low humidity is going to be a refreshing day tomorrow. Same thing, near 80 degrees in the southern coastal plain, middle 70s for the northern coastal plain and south side of Virginia, and about 77 degrees or so as you head out and about around the triangle tomorrow. Things do improve even better for us on Monday at 75 with low humidity, 83 on Tuesday. Then we'll bring some rain chances back Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And yes, those are our first 90s in the triangle this year as we head through the first week of June. We'll keep rain chances around as we head into the following week as well. But high temperatures will be upper 80s to near 90, and the humidity's back, so enjoy the next 3 days because then it's officially summer. Don't go anywhere. We'll have more news for you after the break.
Right now, we are looking at what is going on in various cities across the country. I want to first take you to Atlanta, Georgia, where the violent incident started last night and continued throughout the day and night today. You can see right here, this is an arrest of a protester. If you look closely, you can see someone on the ground there. You can also see a lot of officers in riot gear, Atlanta police, and then smoke in the background. It apparently going on in Atlanta right now, according to the CBS station. There is a lot of tear gas being deployed throughout the area. They also reported that a motorcycle officer was recently struck by an ATV and did have significant injuries. The National Guard is out. The Georgia National Guard is out there along with Atlanta police trying to keep peace tonight as these protests continue, despite a very impassioned plea from the mayor of Atlanta last night or this morning, talking about how this violence is not honoring the memory of George Floyd. Now, I want to take you just a little bit earlier this evening to some protests that happened in Rochester, New York. These did turn violent. You can see right there, these are officers. These are the kinds of weapons that fire rubber bullets into the crowd. And here you can see someone with a flag upside down, a car burning. He's standing on top of a car. There's another big fire there, and officers in riot gear out in Rochester, New York. A car turned over on the street on fire. So a very volatile scene out there in Rochester, New York, as well as these incidents continue throughout the night. We'll keep taking you to the different communities as they deal with them. Back to you.
All right, thank you. Now we want to know what's happening here in our community. CBS 17's Colleen Quigley covering those protests in downtown Raleigh. Colleen, what's changed since we last talked to you?
Frankly, we're trying to get out of downtown right now because the situation has deteriorated so much. The last time you saw us, we got hit with tear gas. If you turn around, businesses, there's not a single single business downtown that doesn't have damage. We were just on Fayetteville.
All right, there's a lot of bad language going on. Colleen needs to get herself into a safe space. It's just becoming too much for her to be there now.
Yeah, we want to get you to Chris Clark, who's been covering those protests in Durham tonight. And Chris, those protests were peaceful, not like what we saw in Fayetteville and Raleigh.
Yes, definitely very peaceful, very quiet. We're on Main Street in Dillard right now. That group walked literally right down this road, took up the entire road, all 150 or 200 of them, chanting "No justice, no peace," and chanting, "See something, say something," as well as "We see you, we love you." That was one that they kept chanting every single stop. They marched just up over my shoulder to the police station, and then after that down to the jail, and then back to the park, kind of creating this triangle that they walked through, but always chanting "We see you, we love you." And at every single stop, they always gave some people a chance to stand up and speak their mind. And it was a lot of anger. It was a lot of hurt and frustration. But it never devolved into violence. There's no broken glass. There's no fires anywhere. There's no sirens going off. And we didn't see any police. I've seen more police in the last 2 minutes driving around here, walking back to our truck, than I did the entire night walking around with those protesters. They stayed about a block and a half away, blocking off the traffic on the roads that were going to the protesters so that they wouldn't encounter any traffic on their march to where they were going to. And peaceful is an understatement. I mean, prototype. This is how you're supposed to do it. And kudos to the people that organized this and pulled it off tonight. That got the message across. No violence, no destruction. A message received loud and clear, I hope. Back to you.
Chris, thank you. And stay with us as we continue our breaking news coverage in just a moment.
And now, your forecast first from the CBS 17 Storm Team.
And our last main batch of showers continue sliding south through portions of central North Carolina, moving through portions of Wayne and Sampson County, and those will continue exiting. And really, once this batch is done, we don't have to worry about rain for a couple of days, and we get lower humidity as well. That's something we haven't said for a few days. We'll see ample sunshine through the day. A couple high clouds, especially early. Temperatures warm only into the middle and upper 70s across central North Carolina after we start off at 63. Again, the main thing you'll notice, it actually feels nice outside. Enjoy it because the humidity spikes later this week. I'll detail that with the exclusive 10-day forecast in just a few minutes.
Now, breaking news from CBS 17 News.
We want to continue our coverage of the ongoing protests impacting the Triangle tonight.
Let's go to Mackenzie Stasko. She is live in downtown Raleigh. And Mackenzie, has the group started to disperse at all?
Angela, the group has dispersed. This was packed just a few moments ago down here along Fayetteville Street at this intersection where that CBS pharmacy is. There is a whole line of Raleigh police officers at that intersection across the street where the CBS is. You guys know that was broken into, completely looted, things being tossed along the ground. So this area has cleared out quite a bit. As we've been mentioning, the protesters have kind of been making their rounds through downtown Raleigh, and then police have kind of been following them and then tossing tear gas as those protesters become, you know, as they start destroying some of these businesses. Quite frankly, across the street, we've got Kimbrell's, we've got the furniture destroyed. We're going to take a look over here. We've got this business destroyed, those windows broken out, and this is really the scene all along downtown Raleigh, along Fayetteville Street. We're going to take a walk down here and kind of show you some of the other things that we've been seeing. Just a lot of unrest. We see some people in that intersection running. We can smell and we can see the tear gas off in the distance. Hopefully the wind does not shift this way. Our crew alone has been hit by it at least 4 or 5 times now. But the protesters, again, were down there at that intersection, have since moved over here. If you take a look on the left, they've broken into the YMCA. As you can see, there's the door that's broken into, the front of this YMCA, again, just completely smashed in. That's what we've been seeing here along downtown Raleigh again tonight as these protesters just become frustrated and angry with the situation. We hear down there, we don't want to get too close, but we hear down there some of the tear gas that's being thrown. We can smell it. We're going to try and walk a little bit further, but again, the wind is shifting. Angela, Marius, just a very unsightly scene here and just an unfortunate scene, again, here in downtown Raleigh. For now, we'll send it back to you inside.
Mackenzie, thank you. Now, hundreds converged on Durham to march in honor of George Floyd and to demand an end to police violence.
CBS 17's Chris Clark is live in Durham. And Chris, it was very peaceful throughout the daytime and even into the evening. We saw one man bring his young son there to show him what peaceful protesting is like.
Yeah, there were quite a few people out here with young children, and it was kind of crazy right up from the moment we got here. When you come upon some of these scenes, you can feel a tension in the air. You can feel an electricity, like something could jump off with just a little bit of a spark. And I never got that feeling. It just seemed like a giant roving block party, and very well organized. And you had people that were in their 60s and 70s, and you had children as young as 7 or 8 years old, and obviously accompanied by adults not running around. But to show the right way, to show what can be done when you unite and when you organize and when you want to get your word out, when you want to get your message out, and not have it tainted by violence or by destruction or by anything that comes with taking away from the message, which is we're here. You know, we're tired of this and something's got to change, something's got to be done. You can't look back on this protest tonight in Durham and say anything other than these people are fed up. They don't want this kind of treatment from the police anymore, and they want to be looked at as equals. There's nothing else you can say. There's no broken glass. There's nobody that's going to have to clean up anything tomorrow out here. As a matter of fact, I lost one of my masks, so that's the only thing that's actually been dropped on the ground out at this place. But very well organized. They walked right up Main Street, right to the police station over my shoulder. They allowed 10 to 15 people to get up and say their piece about what they were looking for, what they wanted, and their frustration, and express their anger. But it never boiled over into any action other than them enunciating and talking about it. They then very peacefully eventually walked through the parking lot down to the jail, repeated the very same thing, peacefully, organized, and then came back to the park and did the exact same thing. There was even pizza and water down there for the people that wanted it. That's how well Skip Gibbs, the guy that put all this together, had this organized. There was none of the destructions you saw in any other cities around the United States. It got their point across. It let everybody in power know what they wanted, what their demands were, what they want to see change in. And there's nothing derogatory that you can say about this. The city, Bull City, Durham, stepping up and showing the rest of the United States exactly how you're supposed to get the word out and protest, so nobody can say anything other than, hey, you know, we need to pay attention to these people. And quite proud of this place tonight. Nothing else I can say about it. Back to you.